Scott Major's here. He's an attorney that works as an advocate for people such as us that need help in terms of insurance, in terms of FEMA, etc. So, Scott?
Thank you. I probably don't need it. My name's Scott Major. I go around the country and help people to understand how they can best get money the soonest and the most strategic and best ways. By way of background, I was the former national counsel for one of the largest insurance companies in the world. I'm now advocating for advocates against insurance companies to get money from them to maximize those claims. I have personally felt what you feel. I have been through 12 storms on my own, including 2 Catastrophe 5 storms, so I fully understand all the implications that are involved there and consulted with many, many different people. And I want to give you a little insight on some of the things you should think about in maximizing your claim. You have an able amount of really talented FEMA people. I have been on many town meetings, and I have enjoyed working with this group who are very, very compassionate and really trying to help you. I would just say as a start that even though part of recovering money is both on the FEMA side and the insurance side, that you have to understand that there's a lot of questions that are asked. Sometimes they're asked in different ways where you might not get the solution or the exact answer you want. The people that are here tonight are going to try to solve all of those problems and help you along that course. In terms of the insurance proceeds, you have, as they mentioned, a FEMA pool of money that comes based on principally you registering, as Greg told you. It is critically important. I cannot emphasize enough that regardless of what insurance you're trying to get, you must register. You absolutely must register. Whether you're doing that on the phone, by a smartphone, or you're doing it, through the website of disaster recovery. It is the absolute condition precedent to anything. It is the launching pad. Now, once you do that, whether or not you get relief, you have to understand your first line of relief is your insurance policy. In other words, if you have a flood insurance or a homeowners insurance policy and it's going to cover you for all those damages, then you're not going to need FEMA relief. Okay, so your first line of defense, and if you hear on the phone or somebody tells you, gee whiz, you got to go to your insurance company, they're not saying you can't get FEMA relief. They're saying if you have insurance, you need to avail yourselves of that. You've paid for that. It's very important that you do that. It doesn't mean they're trying to short shrift you or get you off their back. You still may qualify for FEMA assistance whether or not you get insurance assistance. But the first primary avenue of relief, once you've registered in the FEMA and created your profile, is to go to the insurance policies. Now, I'm going to discuss quickly 2 principal policies so that you'll understand what questions to ask if they're not already answered in the proper way through this discussion. The first is homeowners insurance. The second is flood insurance. On the homeowners insurance side, everybody who has a homeowners insurance policy or a flood policy, it comes with something called a declaration sheet, sometimes called the deck page. That is the first page of your policy that says this is how much coverage you have. This is how much deductible you have. It explains right on the first page so that you know. So if I look at a homeowner's insurance policy, for example, and I look, there are 4 principal types of insurance coverage. One is called Coverage A. Coverage A is your dwelling. The structure, the walls, the roof, the things which comprise the building envelope or the structure. Okay, and you'll have a certain amount of money that's allowed for that. If you have problems, that will be covered by that item. Coverage B, which is the second form of coverage, is called the other structures provision. That involves if you have like a detached garage, you have fencing, you have a shed, you have other types of structures that may not be necessarily directly affixed under the definition of the insurance policy. That has a separate amount of money that's available to you. Okay, then you have coverage C. Coverage C is what's called contents coverage. That means that the stuff that is in your house, the computers and the clothing and the stuff that's inside your house is covered by contents coverage. Coverage D, the final level of coverage, deals with additional living expenses. They sometimes call it ALE. It is your loss of ability to use your home. It is payments that you can receive by the loss of use. And you had to move to a hotel because your property has to be fixed or it's unavailable. That is the type of relief you get. It is important to know those coverages because those coverages may provide you with immediate relief that do not necessitate FEMA to come in and duplicate that relief. So that first avenue is to look at the homeowner's policy. Homeowners insurance is generally triggered by events like wind that occur to the structure, hurricane-type winds that tear off your roof, or large amounts of winds that maybe affect your structure, the types of things that are governed and covered in a homeowner's policy. Contrast that with a flood policy. A flood policy, by its definition, is to cover those kinds of problems that result from flood. There are ongoing debates as to whether storm caused flood and therefore your homeowner's insurance should cover it. We'll debate that later. The principal understanding is if you have water, and most of this particular area was affected by water-related events, your flood policy is going to be one of your primary sources of relief. Oftentimes in your flood policy, in addition to the actual structure and surrounding structures, you'll have a separate contents portion that has nothing to do with your homeowners. That's over here on the flood side. So if you lost your shoes and clothes and computers and equipment and your washer and dryer and all these things because flood waters came in, that will cover underneath those items, whether the items is in the structures part or in the contents part. You'll want to look at that insurance policy. Okay, I've got homeowners or I've got flood policies. There are also different types of flood policies. You can have individual policies. You can have ones that are done through the National Flood Program. The concept is whatever those insurance are, you want to avail yourself of that. Well, how do I do that? What do I physically do? Generally speaking, you have to call and make a claim, or you have to write and make a claim. Let me tell you some quick tips and some of the questions that we've gotten from other town meetings. First, document, document, document. By the way, that applies both to FEMA and to any insurance. You need to show what your damages are. You need to show that they're causally related to this particular storm and not some old deterioration that you're now trying to get recovery from. So you need to take photographs of every aspect of every building. You know, if you have your house, take a photograph. If it's the front of the front door, print it and put front door. If you have a main bedroom and you have a bath there, you put main bedroom bath. It is very important to document that because I want to make it as easy as I can for the FEMA people as well as the insurance people. I want to say, here's your road map. So when you come, you'll have all those documents. So taking pictures, videotaping, it's great. It's wonderful. If you have an expert that comes out, like you have a public adjuster or an engineer or a contractor, you can walk around with the videotape and they can comment on it. Or you can have them comment on the pictures. But it's very important to start with that documentation. Make a chronology of events that have occurred if you can. The concept is you want to produce written documents. When you call them and they set up a claim, they will give you a claim number. Okay? You want to get a claim number. You want to find out who you've spoken to because letter writing is a principal way to get paid. The more aggressive you are, the more likely you're to be paid. I'm just telling you this from the thousands and thousands of claims I've been involved with, that you have to be aggressive. Sometimes it's not malicious. Sometimes it's not to anybody's fault. But when there are lots of claims, people forget you. When you're just another number, you need to stay out in front. You need to call your claims manager, and if they tell you that an adjuster's coming out on December 1st, then when you hang up the phone, you write them a letter. Dear, adjuster, dear insurance company, thank you for telling me that Mr. Bob is coming out on December 1st. I look forward to seeing him. Love and kisses, you. If the person doesn't come out on December 1st, on December 2nd, or the afternoon December 1st, you're writing another letter. Dear insurance company, you told me, as I wrote in my last letter, they were going to come December 1st at 9 o'clock. They didn't show up. Would you please write me and tell me why they didn't show up? I had to cancel work. I had to adjust my schedule for this. Please write me within the next day and tell me why. If they don't, love and kisses, you. If they don't, the next day you write another letter. and you see the way it's elevated. And if you do that, what you're doing is you're telling them, I'm on top of my claim, I'm documenting my claim. When an insurance company says, we've got all your information, dear insurance company, thank you so much for confirming that you have everything underlined that you need, and you need nothing else of any kind whatsoever. If I am mistaking or misunderstanding in any way, shape, or form, please write me. You don't call and then they say, oh yeah, I told them that. No, you didn't. Please write me. If they don't, love and kisses you. If they don't, 3 days later, you write them again. You haven't written me and told me the things. Or you haven't confirmed that there's anything missing. Or if they send you and they say, you're missing this picture, then you send them the picture and it says, consistent with the prior letter you wrote me or the phone call. Hey, here's the picture. This now confirms that this is everything you need. And you can now pay the full claim value of the $92,000 that I've asked for. If you are going to disagree with any of that, please write me and tell me as to each item you're intending upon disagreeing. Love and kisses, you. And when you start doing that, what will happen is you will create a track record. And that adjuster who's sitting at that desk, okay, who has 200 or 400 or 500 claims, is going to say, get me away from this person, pay their claim, because I have 200 other things to do. And I'm telling you from being inside the insurance company that there's a desk level, then there's a regional level. Okay? Like in FEMA, I make jokes because I love Tony. I call him the man in the blue shirt. If you want to get to the man in the blue shirt, you got to document enough to where you can go to the man in the blue shirt and say, hey, I give him all this information. What gives? I've documented it. I've given the letters. I've done that. You can get to a supervisor in insurance if you do the same thing. Okay? The concept is to make sure that you're documenting, you're aggressive. I don't write letters that say, you know, I'm going to sue the living sin out of you. I write letters like a resident. I'm stunned. I'm amazed. I'm surprised. I can't believe you told me this. You didn't do it. I don't know why you're doing it. After you get 4, 5, 6, 8, 10, 15 letters and you write a complaint, what's going to happen is you're going to get a response. The concept is that what you're doing is you're documenting and pushing these claims through. The final thing I'll say about this is that what's most important about this whole process is that you get involved. If you want to get an expert involved, there are different types of experts. There are lawyers and public adjusters. Should I hire them or not? Who should I hire? Well, a public adjuster, while not a lawyer, has the ability to resolve claims for you. They generally have an understanding of insurance. There are public adjusters that can help you. Make sure your licensed public adjuster, just like your contractors and other people, are licensed, that they're authorized to do the work. Don't have a general contractor who's not licensed do the work and give them $50 or $5,000 in cash. You will not get recovery on that type of stuff. Public adjusters have a disadvantage. The disadvantage is they can't sue. So the insurance company knows that they may not pay you as much. This is a generalization because I have a short period of time, but that's what happens. So you might want to have a lawyer. What's the advantage of a lawyer? A lawyer can go to court. A lawyer can say, I can sue. Lawyers, what's the problem with a lawyer? They generally charge more money. Most of it's contingency. If you use generalizations, you might have a public adjuster charging 5 to 10% and a lawyer charging 10 to 30%. But you generally, if you go to litigation, you're generally probably going to get more money. I don't care which expert you hire and who you hire, and there's some lawyers in the back that will help you and in the breakout rooms. What's most important is to make sure you get somebody who can help you to get the right experts out to your property, get the right documentation, to do the right things so you have all that information. This is just an intro. We're going to go into the breakout groups and we'll handle your own questions. But I wanted to give all of you an understanding that you do have rights, that you're not alone, that you shouldn't fear what's going on, and that I know what you're going through. Thank you.
Yeah.